just dropped off my compadre from work, and now I'm headed to the house. And I've been doing these videos for a while, but we've had a real challenge getting them uploaded and getting the channel started and all that kind of stuff. So, exciting news is that even though I've been doing this for a while, this is the first day that I've actually got one video live on YouTube. So, yay! And there you go. So, how's my day been? It's been a rough day. I won't lie. It's been a rough day. Food-wise, it was fine. You know, I had my green juice this morning, drank my water, and then for lunch, I had my soup. I also had a cup of fruit to kind of get me through because I really didn't have anything to kind of get me through until lunchtime, and I was feeling pretty hungry. So I got a cup of fruit from the cafeteria, some pineapple and strawberry. I forgot to add that into my chronometer, so I'll have to do that when I get home. And so we got that going on. And then what else? Oh yeah, so then I had a bunch of soup for lunch, which was it was good. It was really good. And that's all I've had, so I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do for dinner tonight. Probably a tempeh sandwich is what I'm feeling like. I have some seitan I need to make when I get home. But it was a rough day. I had hoped to pay off a bunch of debt that I had with my income tax return, and as it stands, apparently I had to use all of it for other bills. So it was really an incredibly disappointing day from that perspective. Just really, really frustrating, because you try and you try and you try to get above things, and you just can't do it sometimes, and it's incredibly frustrating. And I wish I had a better way of doing it, but I don't. I'm just kind of at the point where I'm just kind of a little bit lost, really. Just kind of beginning to question everything again. Beginning to question, you know, motives. Beginning to question whether it's worth doing this. You know, not my YouTube stuff, but just, you know, trying to get above the debt and pay bills off. You know, when you don't go anywhere and you make a decent living and you're just a slave to the debt all the time, it's very frustrating. It's very hard to deal with. And so I've got to go home and I've got to sit down and I've got to try to figure out a way yet again to make things work and whatnot, because there's a lot of times, a lot of the different things that we thought were going to work out haven't, and you got to figure out a way to make something work. Something has got to work, or you know, something's got to give. There's no more leeway anymore. So I don't know what we're going to do. I really don't. But I guess we'll try to figure it out and work through it. I mean, everything's always going to be okay one way or the other. It's just that, you know, things change a lot sometimes, and you have to change your lifestyle, you know, and that may mean that I have less fresh fruits and vegetables to eat, and I have to eat more grains. Who knows? More legumes. You know, maybe rice and beans is where it's at for the next couple years for us. I don't know, but we'll figure it out at some point. I guess I'll have to rededicate myself to figuring something out, because apparently I haven't been able to figure it out to this point. So, which is really sad for me. It's very, very disheartening. It's hard to deal with. But enough of those problems. What else? I think I already told you about the carrots. They were really, really pretty good. And I don't have anything else up my sleeve as far as food goes, and different types of food that I wanted to try. I don't think I've got any of that stuff going on. Maybe I'll put out an ebook of some recipes, though, so everybody can kind of see what kind of recipes we typically use whenever we're making it through. You know, I've tried a lot of recipes from a lot of different over the years, or some that Stark Raven Raw has purchased. I mean, we have a ton of them. We probably have 50 cookbooks at home. And that doesn't even count the ebooks that she's purchased and whatnot. And some of the recipes are really phenomenal, and some of them are just meh, so. And a lot of the ones that are really, really good, they have a lot more like fat in them than what I would want. And so it's kind of, you know, that's like the zucchini hummus recipe that I like, is one that I've tweaked a bunch. You know, the original recipe was really brilliantly good. It just had so much fat in it, or so many calories, that if you were, you know, trying to either stay slim, get slim, or limit the fat in your diet, it made it incredibly challenging to try to eat with any regularity. And so I had to modify it to try to make it to where it tasted good, still tasted good, and also had the metrics, the nutrients I wanted, the profile, I guess you could say, that I wanted with it. So there's that. So maybe we'll put out an ebook of some of the different recipes that we really like, and how we like to do them, and so forth. And yeah, I've seen a lot of the recipe books are really pretty. They got lots of pictures and so forth. But for me, I like simplicity. I like the recipes when they're really simple, where they're not overtly complex. And you know, vegan food is not more complex than traditional food by any stretch of the imagination. And if you've ever tried to make a beef Wellington, you know that's the case. You know, and raw food takes a little bit more preparation, a lot more preparation, but it's not any harder. But you know, I haven't really found a book, or you know, a pamphlet or recipes that really speak to me. Like, I haven't found the book that I'm like, this is the book. Although there's a lot of really great books out there, you know, that have a lot of different things in them, and you can learn a lot from them. I think a lot of times my methodology when it comes to the way I like to eat is to try to find the recipes and the philosophies that people use to make them, and then kind of make them my own, to where, you know, it's kind of like if somebody serves you a plate of anything, and it tastes good, but maybe you want a little salt on it, because it enhances the flavor more for you. Maybe you eat a lot of salt, which of course, as you know, I'm not a fan of salt. But maybe you eat a lot of salt, and so when somebody makes a dish that doesn't have a lot of salt in it, your palate's not really ready for that, and so what you end up doing is you end up adding more salt to it, to try to make it more flavorful, because that's what your body expects, and it's what your palate expects. And it's kind of like that to some degree. When I find a recipe that has a lot of promise, it may need a few changes so that it fits my palate better. And you know, I try to eliminate the things that I think aren't good for me. I try to get rid of things that in my brain don't make sense as good, healthy choices. You know, limiting sodium, I think, is important. I don't think getting rid of it completely, maybe, but, you know, regular table salt, you know, salt in its natural form, I'm not really all that opposed to, but a lot of the commercially processed stuff, I just don't trust it. I guess that's what it boils down to, is that I've worked for a lot of corporations in my lifetime, and I've seen what they do, and I don't think corporations are bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think they're really great, but they are there to make money, and even if they make food products, I don't trust them with my health. I just can't trust them with my health. Even healthy companies, I don't trust them with my health either. That doesn't mean that I won't use their products and that I won't think that they've got great products, because some of them do. But by the same token, the typical table salt, I don't really feel is good to put in your body. And I saw an argument today that was a little frustrating to me on. A lot of people come down on the raw food movement, and a lot of people come down on the unprocessed food movement, and they think nutrients are nutrients are nutrients. And whether you bake the living daylights out of something or you don't, it's got the same amount of nutrients in it. And I don't think that's true. I don't know. I don't know. I've got to research it some more and try to find out, but to me it seems like if you eat an apple raw, or you take an apple and you bake it down until it's a complete sauce, there is going to be some different nutritional elements to it. I'm not saying that applesauce is necessarily bad, but to make applesauce taste good, you usually have to add a lot of processed sugar to it, or some sort of sugar to it. Whereas an apple just straight up tastes like an apple, and it's fine. And I guess you could add sugar to that apple. I never have. I guess I just have the feeling that whole foods in their most basic form tend to be the healthiest for us. And maybe I don't have any scientific evidence behind that. Maybe I don't. Maybe I haven't looked into it. I don't. And you don't know who to believe a lot of the time when you're taking a look at stuff that's online either. But for me, it's just kind of some basic concepts, and I know some people think that that's not true based on science, quote unquote science. But there aren't a lot of studies that I have found that compare whole foods versus highly processed foods and the way the foods are processed. And sometimes that I guess. Like I said, I don't trust big corporations with my health. I don't necessarily trust doctors with my health either. I've seen a number of them misdiagnose a number of different things over the years, and I think that what they have to say a lot of the times is really it's really great, but you also have to use your own judgment. Kind of like lawyers. We dealt with a court case a few years ago, and it was amazing to me the lack of clear-cutness that was on. Is that a word? Clear-cutness that we dealt with in that trial. It was amazing to me. You would think that a lawyer would have all the answers, but a lot of times they don't have all the answers. A lot of times they end up needing more input, sometimes even from a layman, and that was really pretty interesting to me as far as that went. So I guess what I'm saying is that I don't discard science, because I think it's important, and I think it's important that we recognize that there is validity to the scientific process. I think it's also important to realize that the scientific process doesn't know everything and hasn't done all of the studies effectively to show causation, correlation, etc. in a lot of different areas. In some areas they have. And, I'm all for that. I'm all for being reasonable in my response, or being reasonable in your response about this, that, or the other thing, about your health, about, what we want to put in our bodies. But a lot of times I don't trust the establishment to tell me how everything is supposed to go, because the motivations aren't pure. A lot of studies are funded by companies that are going to use the studies to sell their product, and that's a fact. So I guess, I don't know, it pains me some that the way that people do dogmas back and forth. You know, if you find something that works for you, that's awesome. And if it is not what other people think, unless you can just find some definitive stuff. I mean, you know, it just seems to me that there's nothing good that comes from eating meat, and there's nothing good that comes from eating dairy. And it seems to me that there's less health risks associated with eating what would be considered a vegan lifestyle, and that is healthier for me, and I know it's healthier for the animals, because they don't have to give up their lives for me to eat food. And I eat plenty well without it, so I don't know. Just one of those crazy ranting sort of days, because it's been a frustrating day, and I don't really know where anything is anymore, or what I want to do anymore, and all that kind of jazz. So I'm going to go in and, I don't know, make some food and eat and try to figure stuff out. So until tomorrow morning, I hope you all have a great day. You can catch everything I eat that I remember to post over on Instagram. That's myunprocessed.life. And of course, you can reach me at my email address, myunprocessedlife@gmail.com. Always, you know, make comments down below, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you like spending time with us or with me, I like spending time with you. So thank you for letting me do it. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you again real soon.